Welcome to the Black Men's Consortium question time, and as you can see here we have the long table where we're going to play our game, where thank you to Geraldine Ling for showing me this game long time ago. But here we have 3 contestants who are going to talk about the issues that are important to them about climate change and why a specific question or specific notion should go forward in our play that we are making for next week. So I hope you enjoy it. Let the debate begin. And I just want to introduce the first contestants. We have Brother Errol here, Brother Shabba Rankin in the middle, and Brother Fidel, who plays the Amin cello on my left. And let the debate begin.
Any order?
Start.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Errol Jr. and I have some serious concerns with regards to climate change. And most of you have heard, already know in the news, that the Khan has extended the ULEZ. Now, I'm angry. Don't know about you, but right now, this is probably the only space or place that can actually breathe clean air. Right?
Where? London?
How can we prove that?
London. You're talking about London.
London.
You're talking about Brixton or London?
Right? We're talking about Brixton, South, East, West, all over. Now, my concern is that what is the charge for units? £12.50, isn't it? £12.50. £12.50. So now, where does that actual money go? Where does it actually go?
Is that what you come on here with? Is that one of your questions? The audience is waiting. I just wanted to check. I'm not being rude. It's about the ULEZ.
It is.
It's about ULEZ.
Yes.
Top number 1 issue.
Definitely ULEZ, right? It's got my backup, right? I'm not happy about it.
You're not happy about it?
No, I'm not happy about it.
Okay, thank you. That's clear.
My question is, how is the black community meant to trust the white Western establishment? Have they ever told us the truth before?
Good question.
Have they been honest with us?
Of course they have. I mean, you read papers. Like, you read social media. Of course they tell us the
What, the
truth.
Sun? Daily Mail?
Yeah.
News of the World? They tell the truth, do they? There was a whole hacking scandal. Who paid attention?
Okay, so that's your question, is it?
My question is, the people that are telling us that there's a climate crisis are the same people that have lied for us for 400, 500, you name it, years. They don't have our best interest at heart, so how can we believe that?
Okay, thank you. We've heard that question. And so, final question.
I'm standing.
Excuse me, sir. Can you get back to your seat? Can you go back to your
I'm
seat?
standing right here.
Can you go back to your seat? Thank you.
Virtually, I'm standing right here.
You're blocking the camera, and people want to hear the next. They haven't paid for you. They've paid for these contestants. If you want to vote for someone, go and stand behind them. Don't talk to me. Go and stand behind them. Next question.
Yeah. So ULEZ is a contentious issue. I take that granted, and I think as black people, we definitely know that we cannot always trust the mainstream media.
Come closer.
As human beings, we have survived the dinosaurs. We've survived 2 world wars. Is it so strange to think that the only species, as science knows, that science can tell us on the planet that can actually think, is it so strange to think that that species can be able to predict and potentially prevent its own extinction?
They can lie as well.
Right. If it's possible that it can predict its own extinction, is it possible that some of the people who are predicting its own extinction are black people?
Is it possible that they've been predicting their own extinction, human beings, since human beings have been alive?
But it's not happened.
Exactly, that's my point.
So the question then is, if black people are saying, as well as white people, that we may potentially be bringing our own extinction, why would we distrust the black people?
Where do they get their information from?
But does that matter if it's science?
And it's science settled then?
I would say that there's a majority of scientists who believe that human beings, if they continue burning fossil fuels and not regulating their carbon emissions, that we will lead ourselves to a civilization that will be uninhabitable for human beings.
But will science be enough? Would that be enough?
I believe so, because I believe that the world that we live in is in many ways being built by science, and not just white scientists, black scientists as well.
And it comes on to what I'm going to say is that, where is the evidence? So I'm going to say, where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Where's the actual change?
Where's the change or where's the evidence?
It's in the newspaper.
Speak up, man.
There's lots of
Speak up,
stuff in the
speak up,
newspaper.
speak up. I can't hear you.
Please be quiet at the back there. We have the delegates who
No,
are
we
going
want
to
to
speak.
hear
If
what
you
you're
want to
saying.
speak, you have to be in the chair, sir.
Yeah,
But for decades,
Speak up,
scientists
though.
have been predicting more and more hot summers, more and more intense rainfall during unseasonable times. And so there is a long list of evidence of scientific predictions have come to pass. Now, it may be that the mainstream media has maybe focused on other things, but
But they haven't, they focused on that, that's how you know about it.
Well, not
And
exactly.
they've only been
Well,
recording it
well,
since about 1870 or something, when it was a historic low. And so then everything has gone up since then. And so they say it's the hottest thing since records began. But it was actually much colder 300, 400, 500 years ago when they've studied ice in Scandinavia, when they've gone and done that.
And
Can I just check,
actually-
you three, are you standing behind this gentleman, Fidel? Are you agreeing with what he's basically saying? There's three of you there.
I'm lukewarm.
You're lukewarm, you're kind of half with him. So there's 2.5 here, one half here, and what about here?
I'm here.
You're here, and where are you, sir?
I'm here.
You're here. None of you, can you leave the place, please?
I've still got.
Well, can you just hurry up, because you've got no contestants behind you. Back on
What
you.
is Fidel's question?
Fidel's question. What is your question, sir?
Can we, as black people, stand and listen to the facts that black people are talking about, black scientists, about climate change, and do nothing and risk eroding ours and our children's future? What kind of legacy will we leave to those children that we leave the earth to when they think that their ancestors did?
No, you haven't answered. If you haven't answered, take a seat.
What kind of legacy will we leave if this happens to be a manipulation, if we surrender all of our
Mr.
sovereignty
Chair,
to
somebody.
this white Western hegemony that is promoting this?
Well,
The UN, the WEP, all these massive things, they're all promoting climate change.
I
and climate
understand.
crisis. So you're on their side.
I am, because the UN often will be providing food to people who look like us.
Who set up the UN?
Is it massive?
It does, yeah. It doesn't matter who powers it and who's behind
Who
it.
sets
Well, they're black people who set up the UN,
It
surely.
was the Rockefellers that set it up.
Well, I mean, I think that's questionable. That may be your view. If I'm
Well,
starving
it's facts,
and a white
though.
person gives me food, or offers me food, I'm going to eat that food if I'm starving. I'm not going to question.
But what's that got to do with climate change?
Because I'm saying that as black people who are more adversely
So we have to
affected
go
by
back
climate
to
change-
white people for
No,
our
no, no, we
information.
don't.
Is it
We have to
really
listen to the
important?
evidence. We
Is
have
it
to listen
really
to the
important
evidence.
about
We
race?
have to do our own
In
thing.
terms
Is
of
race
social
really
cycle.
important here?
I think it's exceedingly important, because you have to ask the question, why is it in places where black people live, both in the UK and in the US, that you're more likely to have adverse health effects from climate change, from pollution? Why is that? Is it coincidence or is it somebody's plan?
Okay, let's hear from this gentleman here. This gentleman comes to the studio. There's a new.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Well, the key word in my question is
Yes.
future.
Future, yes.
And it's, what about our future in terms of climate change? I feel like every time we're being spoon-fed what our future is going to be. So we need to really look into that ourselves rather than take in what the media or social media has to say about our future of climate change. We need to determine, we need to just do our own research, just alternatives, really.
But can we be as expert as those who spent decades studying these things? Can we just, if you like, disregard those who have a stronger grounding in the knowledge than we do?
Yes,
Well,
okay.
I'm talking.
And at what peril to our survival and the survival of our descendants?
Well, I'm talking about thinking for ourselves rather than being spoon-fed information from experts or the media.
A question from the audience. Question from the audience.
This gentleman here on the left, I appreciate your question, but then again, your part at the end of it, he comes with facts, and facts are important. You can't believe what journalism is telling
What
us.
facts?
Right? It's actual facts.
What facts?
Sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Gonna have to ban you or throw you out.
So, gentlemen, you talk about the future,
Yes.
and you're saying that, we should define our future, but
Yeah.
what would that actually look like? What sort of power do we need to take?
We really need to take it into our own hands, i.e. by doing our research, by not always believe what we're told. It's about
What time will we
self-determination.
have to research? I'm sorry, I must jump in. What time will we have to research when we're too busy trying to put food on the table for our children? As black people, again, What kind of research? What kind of research tools can we use? What kind of grant making institutions will give us the money to do the research?
So does that mean then that we surrender our sovereignty
No, I'm not saying that we
and say these people are the establishment? They've told us this.
these
they've
people
told-
look like us.
And we can always make
Are they
time
behind
for
it?
these things.
This message. You say black scientists. Do you have many examples of them?
Yeah, I could say Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He's a physicist, isn't he?
And that's science as well.
Do a lot of people know him? I don't know him.
Yeah,
He's an astrologist.
Are they from Brixton?
No, he's not from Brixton.
Are they from
He's
is he from
somebody who's a
Nigeria?
scientist, and he's somebody who would be able who accept the concept of peer-reviewed science. And I think as black people, I think we can do many worse things than accept the validity of peer-reviewed science. Sure, there may be.
But they're predictive science, aren't they? They're not actual.
But if you've got a question from you,
Question from the audience, yes.
Yes, so this is to my learned friends on the question time panel.
Yes.
You talk about the evidence of the science and we must follow the science, which is good. But then how do you engage those within the community who have not concepts of science, who have poor education attainment, who can hardly read, who don't have access to social media? How do we put it across to them the damage and the effect of climate change now and for the future? That is my question.
Would you like to answer or should I take this question? I think those who are rooted in our community will have anecdotes and will be able to give stories of situations. Would you like to?
no, just making thumbs up.
Okay.
Can you hurry up sometimes?
Would have anecdotes and stories of things that they enjoy, things that they hold dear to them. And those things that hold dear to them would be maintained and, if you like, built on a body of science, a body of knowledge. Now, if we throw away, if you like, the validity of our knowledge-making institutions, in large part, we have to start questioning many things. We have to start questioning the thoughts that we think. Are we alive? Are we dreaming? You know what I mean?
Isn't that called the Enlightenment, questioning things?
Not
Isn't that the whole
necessarily.
essence of science? It's
Well,
not
the
to have a
Egyptian
conclusion.
religion has been questioning things. What's the role of man for centuries and millennia?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question here. I'm going to wrap up soon because time is running out.
So a question for the gentleman here. Right?
Yes.
So first of all, you mentioned a physicist who's not really a geoscientist or you know about climate change. He's just a physicist.
As well.
That's one thing. So really and truly,
Does that matter?
yes, it surely matters because he doesn't have the true knowledge of future climate
I have the
changes.
future. I have the
But at
future
the
about
same-
tomorrow.
But at the same time, this gentleman asked the question of how would, like, do we just listen to what we're told, or do we actually research for ourselves?
Well, you got a choice.
And that's the primary thing everybody
Yeah,
should
you've got
be
a choice.
doing.
I have to
It's
do your
the primary
research.
thing
Or follow the sheep.
because it's like what you just said, just following the sheep. So or following the dog, who guides the sheep, right? So you're just following that person down to wherever they're leading you. You're not researching it for yourself. Is that a good path? Is that really that science? Are we really learning from that? Is that back in the day when we looked at climate change was a lot better than what it is now. And everything evolves for, you know, it's supposed to be for the best, but it's perpetuated into some kind of catastrophe where we're just led to go down a hole of these scientists basically dictating, telling us what the future holds, and we have to follow in a line. We have to follow in a line to, you know, our cars, our this, our that, our expenditures on gas,
It's an attack on your freedom,
everything.
yeah.
Everything
Okay,
is
so
more
basically you're
costly.
saying do your own research.
Of course,
Do your own
everything is
research.
more
I get
Just
it. I
look
get it.
around
Yeah.
you.
Or just look around you. Any other questions before we wrap up this evening on tonight's show? Any final questions? Yes, sir.
You say do your own research, but what information that you research do you know that you can trust?
Well,
this is exactly-
definitely
Well,
not
can we hear the answer?
definitely not physicists.
Why not physicists?
Well,
Why not my mother? Why not my brother? Why not the next door neighbour?
I've just said it. A physicist is not knowledge on climate change. They're just a physicist.
And
They,
this,
they deal with physics.
That's one example of
The key word here is
theory.
the key word here is discernment.
Discernment.
With your research, you can look at it, you can think, you can compare it to another research.
Doesn't
this
that
make
assume that
sense?
everybody is rational? Because some people, I know people during COVID who were telling me that COVID was caused by 5G. They'd done their research. They'd listened to, what's his name?
But equally, do you remember that during COVID, initially, to say that it had come from a Wuhan lab leak was complete conspiracy theorist nonsense, and now it's given as fact.
Thank you.
But 3 years ago, to say that, you would get struck off YouTube or any of these platforms. So do you see how truth is kind of used and manipulated? And to say that you are not 100% sure about climate means that you're a climate change denier.
Okay, we've got to wrap up today's show. Can we get some final concluding statements from the guests tonight, please? Can we start here? Final words for the audience to wrap up the whole thing.
I would say that it's a good thing to question the science and to question the information you get, but I would say if the source of information that people are tapping or the information you're getting is that the climate will progressively get warmer, and they're talking about that, and a period follows where records have been broken. The last 3 years, various climate records have been broken. I believe we have to start to seriously consider that science, whether it's science from people who look like you or who don't.
Thank you. Finally,
those records have been broken because we've only been able to measure climate for about 100 years, but it's been millennia and billions of years of climate. The only thing we can know for certain is that climate will always change. It's not static.
And finally,
determine your own future, and with regards to climate change, question everything.
okay, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for tonight. If you want more, tune in next week to the Black Men's Consortium forthcoming production without planning permission at Brixton House Theatre, the 4th to the 6th of October. Be there or be hotter, colder, or bon up.